Or to give you an idea of what it kind of requires and the kind of tools that you might need. So let me show you what I've done. I've already installed the driver's side, as you can see down there, with heat wrap, header wrap, whatever you want to call it. Um, there's a lot of things you gotta undo. Um, Disclaimer: if you're gonna try this, it's at your own risk. I will not be held responsible for anything that you break on your car. It'll be on you. So as you can see, I've had to undo a lot of the wiring. Um, this one I wish I would have done sooner when I was removing the stock ones. This goes down to the starter. Obviously, if you're gonna undo this, make sure you undo your battery. So this one, there's a couple clips. There's a bracket right here. There's another bracket down here. This goes in here. I just cut these out. I'm just gonna zip tie them when I'm done. And this is a serious job. If you're gonna dive into it, I would recommend it's taking me all weekend. I started yesterday, Saturday morning, and I'm still on the first half. I wanted to start with the hardest side, which I knew the driver's side was going to be the hardest. This side has a little bit more clearance, less things on the way, but I really wanted to start here. Wanted to get the hardest one out of the way. I'm kind of glad I did start on this side, because I learned a lot. That side should be a lot easier. I would recommend that if you're gonna do this, you really should have a second car, because if you get stuck and your weekend's up, guess what? You're gonna be stuck with no car. So luckily I do have another car, and I knew if I got stuck or stranded, I could just grab my other car and just keep going at this whenever I have time. So about that, my video cut out. Like I was saying, other extensions and that you're gonna need are these cool little, I got these Harbor Freight as well. They have these like wobble ends, so that when it gives you a little bit of movement at this end. Makes it easier when you're trying to get in angles. I did try using this one. I didn't have much luck with it. It's got way too much articulation in it, to the point where you couldn't really turn the wrench, so didn't really work out. Get yourself a set of these. You're gonna need these, different lengths: short, mid. I think these black ones are impact, and these are for wrenches. You can just whichever one you can get. I don't really think it matters. I didn't really use the impact on them anyway, so they don't have to be impact. And like I said, this thing now, this was my savior, because it's got articulation and it's got a long handle for good torque. So where's my header? Like I was saying, another specialty tool that you're gonna need is this 14 millimeter box end, or whatever they call these, and you're gonna need it in this back one here, because the runner gets on the way. the way they designed it. You can't get a socket in there. It makes it really hard to get in there straight. All you're gonna end up doing is stripping the bolt or the nut. So you can use this to get it down as far as you can. I would use the shorter socket, but at the end you're gonna want to use this to tighten it down. This one actually works well as well, and these two at the bottom, the ones in the back, the two lower ones, that one will work as well. You might have to go back and forth between a ratcheting style. Let me get under here. I have all these tools out that I either used or try to use at some point. I mean, it's literally trial and error. You really should have an extensive amount of tools if you're going to try this. And if you run into trouble, like I did, even I thought I had all the tools I needed. You know, made two runs to Harbor Freight, but it was worth it. So, like I was saying, you might have to go back and forth between these. Actually, if you can get one that's flat like this one, this one might work. I don't know, it might hit in some places. Kind of needs to be a little bit straighter like this one. 14. Obviously this one doesn't have a way of switching back and forth. You just flip it over for whatever side, loosening or tightening. And as you can see, I've had to undo the steering linkage, which is this. Don't worry about marking. Everything pretty much lines up. Has a way that it goes in. As you can see, I marked it anyways, but really wasn't necessary. Where you do need to worry is at the steering wheel. And you want to make sure it doesn't move on you. This is the way I did it. I know, what the WTF, right? But yes, it did the job. Steering wheel isn't moving. I take the crap out of it because I wanted to make sure it didn't move. And so far so good. If it does move on you, I believe you will get some check engine light codes or VSC or whatever, the traction control, steering, stability control lights will come on, and you will have to go to an alignment shop and have them reset those for you. So hopefully mine will be fine because everything is where it was before. So all I had to do is just reverse order the way I uninstalled it. So other things I had to undo down here was the sensors for the O2, the upstream and downstream. If I can get this out. I took these off. These go here. Actually, these go down here and you connect your downstreams here. Actually, I think these are just for the downstream. Your upstream is up there somewhere. I would recommend not installing the O2 sensor on the header right here. I left it out because it made it easier to get your arm in here to get to these two bottom bolts. If you leave it in, it will get on the way. Your forearm will hit it. Hello. Sorry I had to cut out. I just had a delivery. I think it's my new lug nuts. We could look at those later. So where I was saying leave the O2 sensor out from here because that way you can get your arm in there. Warning, you will scratch the hell out of your arms doing this job. So if you're self-conscious about stuff like that, don't do it because you're gonna scratch your arms. There's no way around it, especially if you got big forearms. Both of them. Some of the things that I found easy was for better view of these bolts when you're going in underneath behind here. It's really hard to see, but you can see from under here. You can see I know this is really hard doing this with your phone. There you go. Just thinking out of focus. So if you look from under here where the rack and pinion is, you can gain view to the bolts. I know you can't really see here, but when you're under here, you'll see what I mean. I tried sticking my arm in here a couple times. I don't remember if that helped me or not. Probably just scratched my arm up. But you can also see some more bolts from here. And be ready to be on your back for a lot of this job. It sucks, but that's what you do when you're working with jack stands. My neck hurts like crazy because you're lifting your neck up a lot to look up and see where the bolts that you're working with are at. I'm trying to think anything else. You need to have a good amount of tools. I wouldn't do this if you don't really have many. You will run into this here. You have to work with these AC lines, and you have to shove your arm in here. This is what I mean. If you have big forearms, this will be really hard. You will scratch the hell out of your arms. There's just no ifs and buts about that. It's gonna happen. So these AC lines, you have to be careful, but at the same time, you gotta be able to bend these lines out of the way. So this stuff goes in here. You just pop it out. There's some bracket you have to undo, some bolts, but it's possible to get your arm in there. It's a pain in the ass, but I really did not want to drop the subframe, and I did not want to take it to a shop where they were going to charge me a ridiculous amount for labor more than what the actual headers are worth. So I just decided to do it myself, and I just learned as I went, and it's doable. I've seen it done on 370Zs, 350Zs, very similar engines, different setup. I don't think I've seen any videos of any G37 Sedan installs. So I thought I'd give my perspective and what it took for me to do it. All the bolts are tightened. I try to do it in a cross pattern, kind of like you do your lug nuts. So all six are tight. At this point, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wrap my Burke test pipe with a header wrap, just because it's out. Why not? I order a lot. I order like 50 feet. I only needed about 25, 50. They come in 25-foot rolls. I got 4 of them. You probably only need 50 to do 2. And with the leftovers, if you want to do your test pipes, you can, which is what I'm going to do. Going back to the beginning, when I removed the stock header, there's 3 bolts holding the heat shield in place. Let me get the heat shield. So something like this. These 2 were kind of easy. This one, for some reason, just broke. But I was still able, actually made it easier once the head broke. And I got those 2 out, came out easy. This thing, yeah, it's a pain in the butt to get out of that from the rear, the bottom, at the end of where the header is. So you just gotta play around with it, flip it in every possible direction you can until you find the right way. I eventually was able to get it out. Took a little bit of time removing the steering collar or that connector. Made it easier. Then you just push up the steering linkage, and that actually gave me a lot of clearance to get this out. Yeah, as you can see, it's a mess. So hopefully you have plenty of room in your garage to do what it takes to do the job. Should be fun putting all this stuff together, hopefully. And that's the other thing. If you're gonna do this, you're gonna want to do this consecutively, because if you start to undo a lot of stuff and then you wait a week or whatever, a week or 2, you will forget where a lot of the stuff goes. So do the job while the information's fresh in your mind. If you can't, then I don't know, take notes, or come out here and every day and just look, just to keep your memory fresh. So it's Sunday afternoon. I'm gonna keep going. I'm probably not gonna finish tonight. I think I'll have this. I'm gonna try to do this first before I start putting all this stuff together, just so I can feel like I'm getting somewhere. Once you have both headers in, then you start to feel like you're getting somewhere. So that's what I have, and I hope this helps anybody that's actually crazy enough to try this job, because it's a pain in the butt. It's gonna take you a weekend, and if you have a friend that can help you, I would recommend A lot of this stuff would have been a lot easier if I had somebody helping me. Um, if you're gonna wrap your headers, definitely. My brother-in-law showed up on time to help, just as I was getting ready to do this, so he helped me out. I didn't do a video on it because there's so many videos out there already that showed you how to wrap these. It's not pretty. It's not gonna win any contest. I really didn't care. I just wanted to get something on there to keep some of that heat down from the engine compartment because of the cold air intakes. I live in Arizona, and right now we're anywhere from 110 to 120, and it affects horsepower. Definitely, I feel it sometimes. So I wanted to try to keep those that heat down as much as possible. So that's the reason why I wrapped them. Do they work? I think they do. Anything's better than nothing. I didn't want to just throw them in there and call it a day. Uh, why not just wrap them? It's better to be safe than sorry. So these are the gaskets that came with the Megan Racing headers. They did come kind of damaged, a little bit crinkled. There's some cracks. So what I did, well, at least I was thinking about using the stock ones, but because the holes of the runners are bigger and these are smaller, kind of defeats the purpose of putting aftermarket headers. So I tried going to an auto parts store and buying some generic ones, and then I tied these down together with some bolts, and I took a Dremel and I started to Dremel these down to the same size as the Megan ones, but I decided to stop because look how close that is to here. That's the only material left on those edges. So I was afraid it was gonna leak after time with heat. As you know, those headers get super hot. So I was just afraid that at some point this gasket was gonna fail. So I bit the bullet and threw in. The other one pretty much looked like this too. But this one has a lot more material, and I'm hoping that they hold. I know these aren't usually the best. These will fail at some point. Hopefully it won't be when I own the car still. But what could I do? You got to do what you got to do with what you got. So when I'm done with this side, I'll make another clip, and after everything's put back together, I'll do a short review on everything, how everything works together. And as you can see, my Berks, if you get these, I would recommend getting this elbow shaped anti-fouler. I tried it without it first. Check engine line came on about a day or two of driving. So I had ordered these ahead of time, anticipating that might happen. So I just decided a couple days later to throw these in, and did the trick. Catalyst efficiency codes, I can't remember what they are, put them in the description later. Came on, put that on, drove it around a little bit, obviously killed the light, drove it around, went away, haven't come back. I did get, weirdly, um, I got a couple of lean codes, and I don't know if that's related because I had been running those for a while. I know what people are gonna say. Oh, it's your cold air intakes. You're putting more air in than the computer can handle, the injectors or whatever, air and fuel mixture. But I had been running those for a while without the Berks, and I have the Mansell, whatever, midsection. That's the Y pipe midsection and the axle backs. And I was running those for a while with the stock cat. As you can see, never had any problems. But I wanted a little bit more power, so I threw those in, got the light, threw it down to throttlers, all good. But then I got this lean code, which I'm reading could also be because I need to clean my throttle bodies, which I'm gonna do since I have the space now, and hopefully I won't see those codes anymore. I am planning on getting the car tuned. I haven't decided yet how or when. I'm probably gonna run this like this for a while, see what happens. Alright, YouTube, thanks for watching. Give me a like. I really appreciate it. Leave me a comment. Let me know if we're thinking about doing this, and maybe this maybe helps you or it deters you, whichever way. Leave me a comment. This is my first video, so please take it easy on me. I will get better. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.